Where do you see yourself growing to the next level?
I think that when I started this journey in my life of trying to make wisdom go viral and to share ideas and help people train their mind for peace and purpose every day, there was a certain speed and pace that allowed me to figure out what I needed to do every 12 months. And now I feel like I'm moving away from thinking about the next 12 months to thinking about the next 12 years and thinking about the next 20 years and thinking about the next 30 years. And so I feel like I'm at an evolution and growth in my own life where a change of pace will be what I'm looking for, because I found that up until now, I felt like I had to do lots of little things all the time to be able to establish what I'm doing today. And now I realize it's actually going to take fewer, bigger things that you can only get to if you've done the step before. Right. But now I realize that that's what it's going to take. And so...
And what about the, you've been studying this for the last few years and teaching deeper insights on love, practicing it, writing about it, speaking about it on stage, in podcasts, things like that. Where do you see yourself growing in love with friends, family, your marriage, and with yourself moving forward after this work?
Yeah. So what I found was, as I was doing this work, I realized that often the blocks to love are not because you don't have the deep intention to love people, but it's that you are putting yourself under so much stress and pressure that you're too agitated and irritated to be present and actually share love. So I saw this study that talked about how you think you don't wake up early the next morning even though you wanted to because you're bad at waking up early. But the truth is, it's because you're actually experiencing stress. And when you're experiencing stress, you can't implement a new habit. And so reducing stress allows you to be the person you want to be. If you think about when you say something you don't want to say, it's because you're irritated.
Reactive.
When you do something you don't want to do, it's because you're stressed. When you react to someone in a way that you don't think is yourself, it's because you're agitated. So we act in unloving ways because we are putting ourselves under stress, irritation, agitation, or pressure. And so for me, what I've realized that if I want to be my best loving self, and be present with each and every person and be conscious of that energy, I have to learn to not put myself under so much stress that I can't be present.
Right.
So that's been a big lesson of love, that you can't love while you're putting yourself under stress or pressure in any way.
And it goes back to your kind of theme about peace and purpose every day. I don't think you can fully give your authentic heart without being peace.
Yes.
Without being in a state of peace. And I understand life happens and stresses happen, but creating a baseline going back to peace so you can be present.
Yeah.
But when we're not in peace, when we're stressed, you're in scarcity mode. You're in fight or flight. You're not present with your friends, your family, your loved ones, or just acquaintances. You're reactive.
Totally.
And people don't feel loved when you're not present.
Yes, exactly.
When you're not looking them in the eyes or just listening to them and being in a good state of being when you're around them.
Yeah. The other one that came to mind when you said that as you're speaking is Russell Barkley said that the people who need the most love ask for it in the most unloving ways.
Wow.
And
so true.
The commitment I've made to myself is I no longer want to ask for love in unloving ways. I no longer want to be snappy to feel loved. I no longer want to be demanding to experience love. I no longer want to make someone else feel a passive-aggressive comment to feel love. I want to communicate about the type of love I need in an open and honest way, rather than trying to hope that someone else is going to figure it out because I'm sending subliminal messages or I'm being distant or I'm avoiding them. And so that was something deeply that I learned, was that we just constantly keep asking, even the people that love us the most, we keep requesting and demanding love in the most unloving ways.
Yes.
And if we can free ourselves of that, you can actually make a relationship really special and beautiful. And so we have to let go of that.
Yeah.
Before the interview continues, if you feel like you're not living your most authentic life, not leaning into your purpose, and not living the life that your future self would be extremely proud of, I've written a new book called The Greatness Mindset, and I think you're gonna love this. Through powerful stories, science-backed strategies, and step-by-step guidance, The Greatness Mindset will help you overcome all the different challenges in your life to design the life of your dreams and then turn it into your reality. Make sure to click the link below in the description to get your copy today. Okay, let's get back to this video.
I'm curious, I've been asking a lot of different people on this show over the last year a specific question. I don't know if I've asked you this one yet, but people who've come on who have done great things and done it over a short period of time, or gotten notoriety, or gotten, well known, or different things, or had a big exit when they didn't have money. Essentially 5 years ago, you weren't on the map. You didn't have a big audience, you didn't have a lot of money, you didn't have the New York Times bestsellers, you didn't have all these things. I'm curious, before all that started, on a scale of 1 to 10, the peace and self-love scale, let's call it, 10 being you had total peace and love for yourself and love for the people around you, and you were present all the time. 1 being you hated yourself. Where were you before we met? And then where are you today after success?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd have to say that I was probably at a 7 or 8 before, to be honest, because even though my work's been noticed publicly in the last 5 years or 6 years, there was a whole 10 to 11 years before that where I literally did this for whoever showed up.
5 people.
Literally. So like when I was 18, and of course in my first book, I tell the story of how I met monks. I had a society at university called Think Out Loud. And what it was a community where I would put out flyers and posters myself, and whoever wanted to come from my university would attend. And it was called Think Out Loud. I would dissect a movie based on philosophy, psychology, and spirituality. So I would take a movie like Inception and I would break it down. I'd take a movie like Notebook and break it down. I'd take a movie like The Butterfly Effect, Good Will Hunting. Like I'd take these incredible movies and I would do these sessions. They'd be absolutely free. And I did it for the first year and 5 to 10 people came. Second year, maybe 25 people came. Third year, there were sometimes where 100 people were in the room. And I was just doing it because I loved it. Then I became a monk. When I came back, I did the same thing in the corporate world. I had an event in London called Conscious Living. It was on a Friday night. Literally 5 to 10 people would show up once a month, but it would make me so happy to spend hours with them afterwards. I would literally do a session. I'd serve everyone food because we'd always sit down to break bread. And then we'd sit down for 2-3 hours and I would just answer people's questions and sit with them. And I didn't have any followers, I didn't have any platforms, I didn't have any audience, but I loved it. And so I was already living the dream, in my opinion, because I was getting to do what I love on top of having a day job. And to me, that felt realistic. When I look at my happiness and joy now,
scale of 1 to 10, and
I'd say, to be honest, there's days when it's a 9 and there's days when it's a 5.
Really?
Yeah, it oscillates, and it's because...
Why is that?
Well, I think it's because I've taken on so much more now to think about, to be in charge of, to lead. You have other people that you're responsible for. You have teams of all of these people that rely on you to do what you do best and take care of them and connect, and they're trying to help you out and build with you. And so the responsibility scale level is so much higher now. And so it's not that I don't feel peaceful in my purpose, but it's that you do deal with daily stress, daily challenges, daily pressure in a way that I didn't before because it was just about me.
This is so fascinating because pretty much everyone I ask says something similar.
No way.
Where this, like, they were peaceful, they loved them, they had more confidence before. It's not saying you know more confidence, but on the scale of like inner peace and self-love and fulfillment, it was like almost less on every scale because of the weight, the pressure, just so much more going on and needing to navigate a lot more going on in life as opposed to more of a simple, peaceful life.
But one thing I've understood though with that point is that the reason why that translates is that discomfort is where you grow.
That's it.
And that's what I realized.
Can't stay comfortable.
You can't. And so I find that a lot of my life today, I often say to people, like, I think 75% of my working week is in my discomfort zone. And so I really crave comfort in my relationships. I crave comfort on my
Peace
weekends.
at home, relax.
Exactly. Yeah. I have great relationships with you, of course, and we have a good group of friends, and I have a good relationship with my wife, and like, so I rely on my personal relationships to have some comfort and some stability as I take on discomfort in my service and purpose. And so I think that makes sense. And so I think you also just get better at understanding what growth looks like and what you need. I think if I just sat and lived that life forever, I don't think it would have stabilized. I don't think I would have stayed at a 7 or an 8. Yeah. That would have probably come down as well, but for different reasons. Right. And so the reason that now it comes down are actually positive, healthy reasons, or can be managed in a healthy way.
Yes.
You don't stop loving when you move in. You don't stop loving when you get married. You don't stop loving when you've been together for 10 years and you're celebrating an anniversary. It takes constant effort. So now we're saying, oh, well, it's not going to take effort to find love, which means we're training ourselves to think it's not going to take effort